Windmill is an alternative energy source.
I am Alimov, grade 9A.
Lyubov Aslan, 9B.
Zareen Rogers, 9A.
Sadiq Aziza, grade 9B. Maria Abdulkadirov, grade 9B.
About windmills. The first mills were not utilized to milk crops or harvest water, and currently known as an energy source. The first mills were in Egypt used to sound musical instruments. Only in the beginning of the first millennium AD did they emerge. To milk crops and harvest water in Poland. It was such a vital aspect of their lives, it was soon coined as a national emblem. However, they faded into the background with the uprising of oil, gas, and coal as energy sources, which were also considerably cheaper. Yet with the consequent side effects of pollution and global warming, windmills and other eco-friendly energy sources they faded into the background with the uprising of oil, gas, and coal as energy sources, which were also considerably cheaper. Yet with the consequent side effects of pollution and global warming, windmills and other eco-friendly energy sources yet again concur for the lead.
In the first phase of creating our windmill as an alternative energy source, the required materials were acquired. We acquired a platform, on the backside of which we threaded wires that you can't really see, but they're under here. On the backside, connecting the solar battery, our windmill mechanism, and the radiator that extracts heat. We assembled all the pieces and attached them. We installed buttons that activate each element separately. Yes. By holding down the first button, simply the windmill is activated. The second one activates the radiator light bulb, and the third activates the solar battery. There. By holding down all three, we activate all three elements.
As ever, even in the shadows, baby, kiss me before they turn the lights out.
Following the completion of the technical assembly, we applied foam, tissue paper, and watercolored the whole thing to give an effect of realism to our windmill model.
I came to party like tonight will never end.
Simply turning the post mill mechanism activates the light right next to it. Pressing down the second button activates the radiator light, channeling the energy. The third button activates the solar battery. Pressing down all three channels energy into all three. As you can see, it's a pretty powerful power generator. Yep. Windmills were among the original prime movers that replaced human beings as source of power. The use of windmills was increasingly widespread since the 12th century. The sails of the mill are mounted on a wind shaft, and to work efficiently must square facely into the wind. And in the early mills, the turning of the post-mill body was done by hand. The first windmill sails were wooden frames, on which sailcloth was spread. Each sail was set individually with the mill at rest. The early sails were flat planes inclined at a constant angle to the direction of rotation. Later, they were built with a twist, like that of an airplane propeller, to partially impart rotation.
On top of each turbine is a box known as a nacelle. Attached to the nacelle are three propeller-like blades that connect to a rotor. Also on the nacelle is an anemometer to measure wind speed and direction. The wind direction rotates the nacelle to face into the wind. The energy in the wind, called kinetic energy, turns the turbine blades around the rotor, creating mechanical energy. The rotor connects to the main shaft, which turns inside the generator housing. Here, a magnetic rotor spins inside loops of copper wire. This causes electrons inside the copper to flow, creating electrical energy, what we call electricity in our daily lives. For this wind turbine, a step-up transformer inside the nacelle increases the electrical generation from 690 volts to 3,400 volts. The electricity generated then travels down large cables from the nacelle through the tower and into underground cables. The cables take the electricity generated from all the wind turbines to a substation. Here, a step-up transformer again increases the electrical output. A transmission line connects the electricity output at the substation to the electrical grid serving communities throughout the region.
We'll explain how wind turbines work. The tail fin points the propeller into the wind, causing it to spin. The propeller rotates the shaft, and the shaft turns the generator. This generates electricity. The converter makes the AC into DC power, and the battery stores the power for a stable output. And that is how wind turbines work.